Thank you for the invitation. I'm actually excited to talk about creativity in STEM education, referred to as STEAM, because when I initiated this program, I saw a need, especially for kids. I had Mr. Dr. Maluta saying that they are visiting schools and stuff like that. So at least you can be rest assured that we are starting them from the age of 5. So from the age of 5, we start teaching kids STEAM. We expose them to IT, technology, to art, how they can use engineering and all of that. So at least we are grooming them on your behalf. When you get them, you'll get them at least knowledgeable. So the topic that I'll be covering today is how to teach learners to be innovative, and does it make sense to include creativity as an aspect of STEM teaching as well as learning. So just to give you a brief, who we are. So Ginini Consulting, it is an IT company, and IT company focusing on software development, business analysis, and teaching adults or the school leavers computer technology. And then, like Jancy has mentioned, yes, we did initiate this because we saw the need to empower our kids as they are young. And as we do that, we also make sure that we cover all the kids. So not only the elite, but we also cover those who cannot afford. Those who cannot afford, we cover them using our LEMEC Foundation. So the proceedings from Ginini Consulting, as well as for those who can pay, they're actually paying for the LEMEC Foundation beneficiaries. So how do we teach learners to be innovative? The first thing that we need to do, sorry, oh, I have flu. So the first thing that we need to do is to have a mind shift, not only for the kids, but from the education perspective. So with STEAM, we are saying let's not replace the full curriculum, but let's align the curriculum with the STEAM framework so that they can work hand in hand. There's nothing wrong with our curriculum. We just need to plug in the STEAM framework. And then the other thing that we need to do, we need to change the tradition of the traditional classroom, where you are always reminded that you should know your place as a learner, and then students in this traditional classroom, they're expected to be the consumers of content. So you listen to the teacher is always sitting in front of you or standing in front of you, sending you, giving you information, and you, the only thing that you need to do is when the teacher asks you a question, you need to respond by raising your hand and answer only what you've been asked, not anything more. So we are saying let's do the mind shift by introducing the STEAM classroom. Come in and collaborate. So that's how the classroom should be, and then it should be in such a way that it stimulates students and it motivates students, and there should be we should also build confidence in the students, and then as well as enthusiasm. This is what we call the project-based learning. And then with the project-based learning, the setup in this case, kids are sitting around a table, they are engaging, they are collaborating with one another. It's okay to talk in the class. They can ask questions to the teacher will still be in front or will be moving around the room, but at least the kids are more they are in a position where they can collaborate and they can ask questions, they can ask their peers if they don't understand anything. It's not only the teacher who can push the content. So what is STEAM? So STEAM is an interdisciplinary approach to education using different aspects of more than one academic discipline to examine the theme, issue, question, or topic. And the interdisciplinary refers to the bringing disciplines together under a theme by allowing each other to remain distinct. So it does not move away from if it's engineering, engineering is not absorbed by any of the STEAM components. It's distinct on its own, but at least the kids, they can be able like to see how everything fits together. So they will be in a position to explore through curiosity, play, and hands-on learning. So what STEAM does to the kids, it makes them to be very curious because they want to know more. You show them something, they want to know what will be, if they do this, will what will be the result and stuff like that. So it actually opens their mind. And then the aim for students is to get a real life experience solving real world challenges. I can give you an example with this real life experience. We once had a workshop where we were teaching kids how to code a traffic light, as well as how to code these billboards, the digital billboards that you see on the freeways. So we wanted them to look at that and know what happened behind the scenes. So as they were coding this traffic light, others, they were playing and say, you know what, ma'am, I want this the traffic light that I'm coding, I want it to have lots of accidents. So I'm just going to minimize the time so that when one is inside trying to pass, if it's green, it must quickly change to orange and red and stuff like that. So by playing with that, they're actually now learning that this traffic light, the way it was programmed, and it's doable. They can also do it. So now the kids who attended the workshop, when they see the traffic light, when they see that billboard and the digital board, they now know what went behind the scenes. Unlike if they look at it as something that they cannot do. So those are the things that we bring to them. And then how do we steam up our classrooms as teachers? So the first thing, teachers, like I've mentioned, they don't need to change the curriculum. We just need to incorporate the STEAM framework. And then we first select the topic. And then from the topic that has been selected, we connect the topic to the real problem. And then we define the challenge. We use the engineering design plans. We use the media tools to explain the challenge, whether it's via videos, it's searching things on the internet and stuff like that. And then we also let the student do research and brainstorm whatever that we have put on the table. And then from there, they can create a prototype, and then they test their prototype. The students should communicate their findings, whether via presentation, whether it's on their laptop or the live presentation in terms of demonstration. And they can also, the last thing that they need to do is redesign. Obviously, after they have communicated, you might find that there are things that needs to be looked at, so they can rectify or upgrade their prototype. And then what is the impact with this interdisciplinary learning? So it supports critical thinking by helping students. I'll go back to what Dr. Maluta said with the kids in the rural areas, whereby they don't have computers or they don't have the resources to learn coding, but it's actually done manually. We fully support that as well because we create a program on the ground. We draw it like they did on the picture that is shown us. We draw that and then apply the critical thinking so that the kids can be able like to apply their critical thinking and seeing the results of the coding, even though they are not sitting on the computer lab, just to make sure that they also get to understand what critical thinking is. Instead of saying they don't have resources, then we'll see them later. So that can also be applied without using computers. And then it also helps the interdisciplinary learning. It also helps with understanding the multiple viewpoints, and they evaluate the conflicting perspective, because remember, they are looking at STEAM as a whole. Everything that they do, they are looking at STEAM as a whole. It's not only zooming in on engineering or art. And they build structural knowledge. There will be changes in learning dynamics, placing students in much more active roles. So how does it make sense to include creativity as an aspect of STEM? Does it make sense? Certainly, it does make sense, because the A in the STEAM is it aims to teach students the value of creativity, innovation, communication, and contemplate. So this is one of the things that A came into play when it comes to STEAM. So this was a workshop where these kids were actually creating a piano using fruits. So they programmed, they coded the program, sorry. And then from there, they translated the coding into a microprocessor. And then they linked the microprocessor to the fruit. So as they punch these fruits, you can actually hear the sounds coming from the fruits using different components that they have used, as well as the code that it was written. And then being able to capacitate these kids to be able to explain what their program is to another person, because this child was actually explaining how the piano works, showing the other peer the program that was written. And then the other thing is the VR explorations, whereby they can actually take whatever that they have learned in class, whether it's history or in geography class, they can take that and they can visualize it. They can be part of the exploration. If we are talking about 2x2, you have covered that in history class, and then they go and explore. They are actually seeing what you've been talking about in theory. They are now putting it in practice. And then the other thing, it's creating a robot from the cardboard box. So the A actually teaches the kids that when you have a cardboard box, you might not want to throw it away, because you can reuse. We are always saying that we must reuse, recycle. And then when they reuse it, they just put in the elements that are required to make this robot uh, be drive by itself or walk by itself. I don't know. But yeah, that's how we use art in this team. And then these skills are often in high demand within the workforce, where creative solution to problem are needed, and where different perspectives can be used. Because remember, we are all artists. If you can look at it as human beings, it's just that we are artists in different ways. Others are applying their art in the architecture space, others are applying it in the stage. So we are all artists. It's just that we need now to incorporate everything. So how do we do the incorporation? We need to put out the traditional way of learning, and then we need to introduce the project-based learning. So the project-based learning, okay, so it will be incorporated for the 21st century skills. So we are still emphasizing on critical skills by having students to solve problems collaboratively, and they are paired to solve these problems, communicate creativity, and by having students to come up with innovative ways to express their solutions. So by introducing the project-based learning, so the kids, wherever they are at any given point, they will be able to identify the gap, and they will be able to come up with the solution, because the way of teaching, it has now changed from being the content consumers, but they are also contributing towards the way forward of the country or of the education system. Student access art skills through designing or building robots, like I've mentioned earlier on. So this was a robot, it's called Gbot. So Gbot was built using art, and then the elements inside is part of electronics and technology skills that this child has incorporated together. Okay, so the other thing Apologies. The other thing with project-based learning, it integrates knowing and doing. When students apply what they know to solve authentic problems with intentions to produce results that matter. So here we are again incorporating the A, where the process started with a child creating a robot, designing it, sketching it on paper, and then taking that robot and putting it into the system. And then from there, sending that the output of what was designed into a printer. So this is a 3D printer, and the actual results was a actual robot. And then this result, the robot, the purpose of it is to go and collect data, and that data will be taken and analyzed, and we can do predictives with this data that we are finding. We can do a lot of things. So this is what we are trying to uh, to teach the kids from the project-based point of view. And then we also have another one whereby kids can actually use the droning, because we do have a droning course that we offer. But when we offer this course, we offer the course where we teach kids how to code a drone, and then they will be planning and they will be designing that, and then they will be applying the geographical element on that particular drone, because they have coded the drone. Now they need to take this drone that has been coded and apply it in the real life situation. So let's say maybe they go out there and they gather information, GIS related information, whether maybe they want to analyze information about the environment, they want to analyze information about the anything to do with agriculture and all of that. So this is incorporated all together, and they're able like to use this the Lindsay book that we are using, so that they can apply what has been coded into the real life scenario. And then the implementation. So there are tips on how schools can implement this STEAM education. Schools can create teams of teachers with different subject expertise to plan the STEAM lessons. Adjust both teachers as well as student schedules to accommodate the STEAM-based lesson plans, including time for planning, refinement, and reflection. Ensure staff and faculty receives professional development in STEAM practices, principles, and supports. And then STEAM approach must be integrated and be carried out from one classroom to another. There should not be one classroom that this is a STEAM classroom. The framework itself, it must be applied on each and every subject, so that these kids can understand exactly how everything fits in. In closing, I'm saying school is no longer a place to learn, but instead it becomes a learning experience itself. Schools does not have to be a place to learning, but rather a frame of mind that uses the art as the ladder of explosive growth, social emotional connection, and the foundation for innovators of tomorrow. Thank you so much.